However, not to wait for any more longer, she did ask me to start. And on that note, I would like to invite Toko, that is online with us, to open this session on behalf of Baratang, tell us what the session format will be, introduce the speakers, and then we will go into the discussion. Thank you, Toko. The Zoom moderator unmute Toko. It's Toko Zile, Mia in Zoom. Toko, we should be able to hear you now. Can I just ask the technicians, please, to channel the audio from Toko to the room as well as video? I think Toko's camera is still off. Not hear you. Can you just wait a second, please? So while we're waiting for the technicians to resolve the issues we have with the audio, perhaps I can save us a little bit of time just to guide us through the agenda and to let you know who we will be hearing from today. I haven't introduced myself at the beginning. I am one of the invited speakers, and I always, with great honor, come here, and I have to say with great responsibility given the topic. My name is Anja Gengov. I work for the IGF Secretariat, and we've been collaborating with Baratang for years on better engagement and inclusion of girls and women in the IGF and addressing of those topics. And I'm glad that as a result of that collaboration is the Women's Summit. So very shortly, I hope we will hear from, of course, Baratang Mia, as well as from Elizabeth Kalitziro Mwale as our co-moderators. And then I hope that with Toko, the audio issues will be resolved. Toko is the CEO of Girl Hype Women Who Code. We're very lucky here to have a person that has been a great, I think, focal point for global engagement in internet governance, given that the ECA was the secretariat for a very successful African IGF just several weeks ago. So we'll hear from Akhtar Sek, Senior Economic Affairs Officer at the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa. After that, we'll hear from Horace Chimpere, founder Her for Tech. Sarah Armstrong is with us from the Internet Society. Zanive Asare will be also joining us, Vice President and Head of Public Policy Africa Yango. And then most of this session will be reserved for an open dialogue and discussion, focusing on how to better engage women and girls in internet governance. What would be very important for this forum to hear is, especially from the backgrounds and the communities you are coming from, to tell us what are the good practices, but also not so good practices with respect to gender equality, overall equity, and position, generally speaking, of women and girls in the digital environment. So without further ado, I would like to ask our technicians, can we try again to see if we can hear Toko speaking? I'll just give a minute. Toko, maybe you can try to unmute yourself. I think we're still experiencing technical issues, so if we don't mind, perhaps we can start from what we have here in the room. So, Maktar, I won't put you on the spot at the beginning, but I know you're also a great advocate for gender equality, women inclusion, and speaking always a lot about the importance of having women and girls with active role and equal role in these processes on internet governance, which is not our reality. So from your perspective and from the perspective of the ECA, can you share maybe about what are your observations? What is your work about? What do you see now? What do you think the global community should focus on to ensure that gender digital divide is finally closed?
Thank you, Anja, for this opening session. I think it's very important when you want to take the opportunity of the digital economic to take into consideration the role of woman and girl in this digital space. Why? You know, in Africa, we have 50.5% of the population are women. And when you look at this access to internet, we have 30% of women connected to internet. 31% connected compared to 44 men. The gap is high. And we have seen also since 2023 up to 2024, we have a decrease of the women connected in internet. When you look at the global connectivity in Africa, in 2023, we was at 37%. And October 2024, we are at 38%. We have an increase of 1% of the connectivity from 2023 to 2024. And in the meantime, we have the gap between men and women increase because the gap now is at 30%, 13%, compared to 10% before. Why? We have several reasons for that. First, there is an issue of affordability for women in Africa to own their mobile phone. Yeah, to own their mobile phone. We have also the digital skills barrier, language barrier for several women in the continent. We have also cultural barrier in the continent, and also the issue of digital ID, identity. Africa, we have almost 400 million, more than 400 million without any legal form of identity. And among the 400 million, 60% are women. And means the 60% doesn't have any access to any service, yeah. Land service, social service, administration service, education, higher education service, because they don't have a legal identity. It is a problem why we at the UNECA we try to find a solution by several initiatives. It is a one IGF. It is a good forum to discuss on this idea, and I think since we have IGF, we have seen a lot of progress in the connectivity among the women, because we start very low. When we have IGF or 2.6%, and now we have at 30-something%. This is something big progress on access to women, and also what we need also to provide access to women, because it is an issue of development. In developing country, excluding women on access of digital will provide a loss of $1.53 trillion on the GDP. It's a lot. And the government should understand they need to provide access to the woman and girl in this in this digital era. At ECA, we have several programs. We have one program called it Africa Girl Coding Camp. What is this program? This program target women and girl age from 12 to 25 years to give them digital skills on robotic, on AI, on on 3D printing, on coding. How can they use technology to resolve their problem? And this program was launched in 2022, and around 40,000 girls participate this program, get this training. A 308 projects have been developed by young girls. And these projects are very innovative, because you know technology is not something you need, you have to learn at the beginning. Some girl doesn't have any knowledge, skills in technology when they join the program. And after 2 weeks, they come up with a key project initiative. They know how to code, how to use the 3D printing, how to develop application on AI. And this is something showing Africa can play, women and Africa can play a key role in this 4th industrial revolution. Also, another program, it is to build the skill of the woman entrepreneurship. We have one program with Alibaba on fintech. We call this program Africa Woman Tech. How to build the capacity of women in the technology side, the entrepreneur woman in the technology side. And this program now is reached to 5 countries, and the objective is by 2026 to reach all African countries. I think there are a lot of things. Also on the financial inclusion, we have seen a lot of progress on women to access to the bank account, but there is still some gap why we have to sort it out quickly if you want to reach the sustainable development goal. When we talk about sustainable development goal, we already adopted, I think, 2 months ago in September, this Global Digital Compact. And the Global Digital Compact has 5 objectives. And 2 objectives are, all objectives are focused on women, because when we talk about connectivity, objective 1, it is to close this digital divide. Digital divide means digital gap, gender digital divide also. When we talk about objective 2 on inclusion and the benefits of digital technology for all, women are an important role to play, because we need to increase everybody in this digital information society. And as you know, Africa has to create around 625 million jobs by 2030, and all these jobs need a technology component, and women have a lot of opportunity to be part on this job create. When we talk about security on objective 3, security is important because you know we have some issue in Africa. We have a lot of lady now on the digital space, and they are victim from this cyber crime, and they don't want to say it. Yeah, it is a problem. Lot of people, lot of lady, women get attacked on internet, but they don't talk about this for cultural barrier. And we need also to bridge this cultural barrier for people to protect them on this on the internet, on this information society. Also to give them more confidence to talk about their problem facing in this digital technology. When you talk about this data sharing, also is very, very important. The objective 4 of the Global Digital Compact, data sharing. Women also have a big role there. Because, you know, almost we have a 30% connected men, women, 43 men. But the issue is when we go to social media in Facebook, it is a 50-50. Yeah, 50% of the women connected to be in social media. And they share a lot of information. We need to educate them. What kind of information you have to share in Facebook? What kind of information you have to get in Facebook, in the social media? For Twitter, they are not very active because they are only 3% now. But we need also to educate our women how and they have to share, govern their data. It's very important. And the last one, it is when we talk about this governance of the artificial intelligence. Yeah, it is very important where we can develop the skill of this woman. And we, to be key actor, we need to create a lot of job for women, and there is a possibility now with this AI technology to create this job in the continent. Why we have several activities also at the UNECA. One, it is this, we already established a center of research of artificial intelligence in what call it, in Brazzaville, Congo. And this also will help to build the skill, develop the research for women in the continent. And we are establishing now a STEAM center in Rwanda for the woman also on the early stage now can start developing their skills on digital. To protect them, we are also working with the government of Togo to build this African Center of Cyber Security to protect all these citizens, African citizens in this digital era. It is some key element I would like to highlight today, and we have as an initiative, and thank you very much for inviting UNECA here, and we also commend the work you have done at the IGF Secretariat, because since 2005 a lot of has been done, and we have seen your motivation, your dynamism in the continent, and we organized a successful IGF in Ethiopia 2 years ago. And I think it is a testimony that the IGF Secretariat is doing very well, and congratulations for the all work done. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Maktar. First of all, I want to thank you for setting the framework for this discussion. You've shared some very important numbers and statistics, some alarming numbers, but also some on a more positive note that we are making a change, especially in the past 20 years. I'm also happy to hear that you're putting us in a framework of what could be the next advancement for all of us, which is the implementation of the recently agreed Global Digital Compact at the level of the member states. I hope that we can expand that into a very important momentum we are now, which are the preparations for the 20 years review of the World Summit on the Information Society, where concept of gender equality online and closing gender-based digital divide is also central and really cross-cuts the action lines. So I hope we will hear also about that part. And I'm very, very happy that the person who gathered us all here finally made it. So welcome, Baratang. I'm sure we are meeting one challenge at a time. We have Baratang now here. I'm sure soon we will have colleagues online joining us by audio here in this room, because unfortunately still we cannot hear them. Baratang, I will now give the floor back to you as our moderator and the chair. We've heard some very important statements from Maktar, something that you know by heart, because you are living this topic, first of all, through your work, but also through just your work with the community and continuous engagement. And I want to congratulate you on organizing traditionally this session. This is what I said at the beginning, where we all come, as I said, really with great honor, but also with great responsibility, given the topic and the fact that we are still leaving behind many women and girls while the technology is rapidly going forward. So we've heard from Maktar. I spoke quite a lot, but we also have Sarah here, so I will give back the floor to you. Okay.
Thank you, Anya. I have to say I can always count on Magda and Anya. I'm very sorry for being late. And last night I had a call with Magda about the session, and he said to me, Baratang, don't be late. And as the universe had it, I was late. So I'm so sorry. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor again to welcome you to the Women Internet Governance Forum Summit here in Riyadh. This is our third session. I think Magda spoke about it. And this session is only successful because UNECA and UN Secretariat is really committed to it. When I say commitment, I mean they make sure that they fund the women to come to the session. They make sure that I get all the support I need to get speakers, to get people to sit on board. And the youth, some of the women have now, that were youth, have now moved up and are now speakers on our panel, which is a very good. So I must say your support is a testament to your commitment, Anya. I remember when I discussed the session with you earlier on, that you said, I'm committed to helping you. And it's really been 3 years of doing that. And it's something that I'm really proud of. And Magda's your commitment to promoting diversity and inclusion of women in the space. It's something I value, and it goes further than this, because I work with you in Africa and I see what you are doing for digital public infrastructure and for everything. And Sarah, I know we contacted you last minute and you made sure you sit here, and that shows a commitment to the ecosystem that people want to change and women can be on the leadership. I'm not going to take long because I want more speaking, but for me, it's your kindness and generosity is always appreciated as people who are here. But I always think of what Malala Yousaf once said. He said, one child, one teacher, one book, one plan can change the world. It is a very simple statement, but if you think about it, for us as women, that's what we live with daily. It might be a seat on the table on the Internet Governance Forum, but we need more women. And the other thing that I take with is what the Secretary General said at the GDC summit. He said, no one should be left behind. Now, we are going to leave lots of people behind unless we have women on a seat, unless we have women contributing on policy writing. So putting together a panel was meant to make sure that today, as we are sitting here, we have those connections of one woman, one connection, one idea that can change the internet governance landscape and make sure that we are creating a brighter future and that's inclusive for women. Thank you. I don't know where to take because you spoke a lot. Okay. And I'll hand over to Sarah.
Hello? Now? Okay, good. Good morning and good afternoon or good evening to anyone joining us online. My name is Sarah Armstrong and I'm speaking on behalf of the Internet Society as well as the Internet Society Foundation. We're two different organizations. The Internet Society Foundation is a supporting organization of the Internet Society. Many people may know us already as ISOC or the ISOC Foundation. So I'm here actually for our CEO, Sally Wentworth, she got delayed, as happens. There are just times where your planes decide they're not going to get you where you want to go when you want to go there. So, under those circumstances, she asked me if I would please join the panel, and I'm very happy to do so. But she does send her regards. So, I'd like to speak a little bit also on more statistics to build on my colleague here and talk about the problem, but also obviously talk about some of the solutions. And I'd like to speak specifically, in addition to the solutions that the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation have to addressing this issue, to speak about a direction forward. So I want to start by sharing our vision statement. The vision statement for the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation is the Internet is for everyone. Well, yes, for everyone, but we have a long way to go. It's especially an issue with women, as we know, and we've heard already. I don't have to tell you that there are so many more men right now than women who are involved in the internet in all kinds of ways, and we're really trying to change that. It's really holding back society to not have the women as involved as they could or should be. So, as we've heard, there are more men than women on the internet, and this is particularly prominent in low income countries. So, that's a target for a lot of the work that we do. According to the Women in the Digital Economy, which some people may know as YDEF, ensuring women can fully participate in the global digital economy, entire economies will benefit in terms of a higher GDP, stronger workforce, and higher levels of innovation. So there's a real reason why. This is about not just empowering the women, but helping to really add to the value of the community and the things that they all can contribute together. So we also have a report that says the gender digital divide has a direct and negative effect on global development and inhibits global goals for creating inclusive societies and economies. So we need to make changes and close this gender digital divide. It's important. So as I said, ISOC and the foundation are both working to do that. In many cases, the work that we're doing is focusing on training, because that's so important, is to get women into environments where they can learn skills. We have an example where the Internet Society did a training for women in Mali, and in that case, they discovered that these women had never had opportunities to learn to do any sort of work, the real hard skills work of how you create internets, splice cables, configure a network, all that type of thing. And so we are addressing that through training. And we also have a lot of other programs that do that, and we're making a real effort to make these programs more inclusive of women and more targeting of women because of what we're talking about here and the impact that they can make on overall communities, overall economies. In addition, the foundation, which is an organization that funds other organizations to do this type of work, we have many grants in many countries where our organizations, our partner organizations, are really out there doing a lot of training and encouraging women to be involved and providing opportunities that otherwise not be available. So I encourage you to look at both the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation websites to see all the different programs we have. And what's interesting with the foundation, the applications that we're getting, we're starting to see more people who want to use their program funding to target women. So this is all really encouraging to see in light of the environment that we're working in and the environment that I've described with some of these statistics. And we also at ISOC and the foundation are making one of our 2030 goals to bring in an affordable, resilient, reliable internet. And we want to make sure that we do this with women in mind, because we know that women are important for the reasons that I've stated, to be involved in helping to really augment countries in the digital age. And so we're really focusing on women for the next 5-year strategy that we've developed. And this is a strategy that's both for the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation. We are looking specifically at connecting women and focusing on social enterprises. That is an area that we feel is important. It's a real sustainable effort, or excuse me, anchor for the community. And according to the 2024 Global Social Enterprises Report, social enterprises created in 2024 200 million jobs. So this is important. It's a good, important place for us to focus. So those are some of the areas that the Internet Society and the Internet Society Foundation are focused, and those are the statistics and the issues that we are addressing with our focus. And then I'd like to just turn quickly to looking at policy, since when we're here we talk a lot about policy recommendations. So again, quoting YDEF, their report, they are recommending to close the gender digital divide, that they focus, or we focus, on 5 different areas. First, improved access to affordable devices and online experiences. Second, increased availability of relevant products and tools. So this goes to all the things that we've just heard about. Elevating digital literacy and skills, an area I've just spoken more about. Enhancing safety and security. And the 5th is generating data and insights. And I think we can all agree that these are important places for us to focus. So not just that women have more opportunities, but that the communities can benefit from the women in their communities and all that they have to offer. So in closing, thank you for your attention. I want to say that still over 1/3 of the world's population is not connected, which translates to about 2.6 billion people. And women and girls are the most affected by this situation. So we need to acknowledge this, work together, and meaningfully empower women in the internet governance spaces to bring their perspective to internet governance and to push for change and make this change happen. So there's a lot of work to do. We've started, we're working very hard and diligently to continue to do this. The organizations to which we provide funds are also doing this. We know that many of you out there are doing this, and we know that we can work together and make a difference. So again, on behalf of Sally Wentworth and myself, Sarah Armstrong, thank you so much for your attention. I look forward to a discussion.
Um, thank, thank you very much for a great speech from Asok. I'm used to hearing the mic speaking back, so my brain is looking for that. So I should take this off. I'm going to read Togo's speech. Apparently, the people online cannot hear clearly, and she can't get through. So I'm going to read Togo's speech. Togo Mia is the CEO of Girl Hype, which I founded 23 years ago to close the digital gap for women and girls. When I founded Girl Hype, Toko was 11, and she's been with the organization since then, and now she's a big woman and running it as the CEO. I'm busy living life. So I'll read her speech. On behalf of Toko, this is how she wrote it. As we gather in this room, we recognize the vast potential of digital technologies to transform lives, elevate economies, and bridge digital divides. But we also acknowledge the disparities that remains, particularly for women in Africa and across the global south. Sector problems related to women in digital markets and transformation. Number 1, limited access to digital infrastructure. And this is a big one for women in Africa. Oh, apparently the people online can hear now. I'm not sure if she can talk. Togo, can you talk? Respond on, so that I should be able to hand you over. I'm sorry, the people online can hear now. She's not responding. So number 1, limited access to digital infrastructure. I think this is the bigger thing. Once you solve infrastructure, you would have sorted women's problems. That's my belief. You sort out one issue, which is digital infrastructure. Women women will move mountains. Let's just say that. Women have access to resources. They will make the best out of it. They will move Table Mountain and combine it with Signal Mountain and make one big thing. That's why in Africa there's a saying that you empower a woman, you're empowering a village. It doesn't say you empower a man. It was very specific, written generations ago, that empower one woman, it's generations. So I truly believe in this. So that now I'm elaborating on someone else's speech. I'm going to read it as she wrote it. In many parts of Africa, women face significant barriers to access the internet and digital tools. Rural areas. Can she hear, Anya? Can she talk? She's online. Oh, she can talk. Okay. In many parts of Africa, women face significant barriers to accessing the internet and digital tools. Rural areas in particular are plagued by poor connectivity, high costs, and lack of infrastructure, leaving women disconnected and unable to leverage digital opportunities for education or entrepreneurship. Digital literacy and skills gap. The digital divide is merely about access, but also about skills. It's not merely about access, but it's also about skills needed to use technology effectively. Women often lack the training and confidence to navigate digital platforms, which stems their participation in e-commerce, remote work, and other digitally driven economic activities. This is where we really need to hone on. And as Girl Hype, I must say, I'm proud to say, ISOC has been supporting us. We have been getting small grants to run programs for digital literacies for women. And that's something that really now we should be focusing on. Skills for women is a big thing, or else we're leaving them behind. Number 3 is gender bias and digital markets. Women entrepreneurs in digital markets face systemic challenges, including limited access to funding, discriminatory practices, and lack of gender-responsive policies. This prevents women-owned businesses from scaling and thriving in the digital economy. The 4th one is safety and security online. Cyberbullying, harassment, and gender-based violence in online spaces deter women from fully participating in digital markets and governance. The absence of robust protections and support exacerbates these challenges. Number 5 is policy and representation gaps. Women remain underrepresented in policy-making spaces where digital transformation strategies are shaped. This leads to perpetuation of structural barriers that disproportionately affects women's ability to benefit from digital opportunities. And the key barriers of access in Africa for women's economic participations is that the integration of these challenges mentioned above form significant barriers to women's economic participation. So if women have no access to the internet, which we now know that the internet is not just the internet, it's information, data, access, change of life. If women do not have access to those things we're talking about, they lack affordability. It's caused also by affordability, which is the cost of devices and data remains prohibitive for many women. It causes constraints for them to participate, and it discourages the outright participation. Now, she wrote this, but I understand what she means. The outright participation is very easy. We work with women and with boys and girls. If you put a laptop in front of a boy, there's nothing wrong with that. 90% of the boys, if it breaks, they call other boys and say, it broke down. We put it in front of girls. If it breaks, they are afraid of coming to me and say, I broke the laptop. They come to me and say, I broke it. And this is a simple thing, that girls want perfection, and it's the societal norms. Whilst boys are not afraid of breaking it and saying, it's broken, fix it. And those are little minor things, because as Girl Hype, we do teach boys. those boys will excel super fast because they are used to playing games. The association from childhood to put them in a tech space is so strong. Girls have that, but not African girls. We shouldn't just look at girls from first world countries and assume that we are seeing on the internet. That's the reality of Africa. The reality of Africa is if a house has a computer, what an achievement in the house. The whole thing last year, my whole mission was to get parents to buy one computer for the home. Just encouraging them, please just buy one computer. Because there's a difference between working on this and working on a computer. And I think that's one of the things I really need us to hone on when you open discussion. Because I see her story is very long. So I'm skipping some of the things and I'll go to what we are doing at Girl Hype. We are not just challenging these norms and societal challenges that women are facing. We're really bridging the digital divide, and we elevating women to come into the tech space and making sure we support them as they grow along. So we have a project in Hamuloi. Hamuloi in Limpopo. When we entered the space, we implemented a coding class in a school. This is 2023. In 2023, South Africa is one of the elite countries that I know of. But in 2023, a school had an internet port going straight to the school principal's office, and he was the one with internet access. And then there was another port going straight to the computer lab, which was giving 30 students access to a computer lab. Now, those students could only access the internet for 1 hour. And when you upload a PDF, it doesn't upload because the data was running at 2 point something megabytes per. It was just horrible because I'm not used to that. So I walked in and I said, I can't work like this. So I went to the sponsors and I said, we need to change this. And thanks to the company that was sponsoring us, they came, we had to rebuild a new computer lab. We had to call the internet service provider, leave what the government had put there because it doesn't work. Build a new computer lab in the school, get the new internet service provider to come. Fortunately, they agreed to sponsor us for 3 years, put in the line. When they came, they discovered the whole community has no access to proper internet. In fact, they have access to something. It's not internet, so they can't put what is needed to put the broadband. So they had to put new layering. It was it took us 6 months to implement a program of 2 weeks, just building the infrastructure. And that for me was an eye-opener to say, we also underestimate how dispersed rural areas and urban areas are because we work in Cape Town, and it's one of the all schools have proper internet. All teachers have access to everything. And we couldn't implement a 2-week program. It took us 6 months to lay the proper infrastructure. And those are the realities. We work with Zatna. And thanks to them, they've really built on cybersecurity skills, and they're helping us to make sure that girls understand the cybersecurity online, and they understand what are the challenges and how to prepare themselves for future. They were to apply for jobs. What does it mean to post today? Girl High participate on UN IGF, WISIS. We advocate for gender responsive policies and making sure that we create mentorship as we enter spaces. And she's got a call to action to say, ladies and gentlemen, as we deliberate today, let us remember that addressing these challenges requires collective action. It demands that we work together across sectors, borders, and disciplines to dismantle the barriers that holds women back. I invite you to join hands with organizations like Girl Hype to create a future with no woman is left behind in a digital transformation. Together we can build a world where women's potential is fully realized, and their contribution drive innovation, inclusion, and progress for all. Thank you, and I look forward to engaging in this inspiring summit ahead. On behalf of Togo, thank you. We have 3 minutes for comments. 3 minutes for comments. Anyone with a burning comment towards the speakers or questions? The floor is open. Any comments from online? I know you guys can hear. I'll close the session and say thank you very much, Magda, UNECA. Every year, peace. Um, Anya, I think at this point you've passed the phase of being the secretariat of the Internet Governance Forum to being the champion of the Women in ICTs, Women in IGF Summit. I really appreciate that. You know, you accepted this program wholeheartedly, and I think it's beyond what IGF and the secretariat is saying. It's from you as a person in believing that this platform will change for women participation. And you can see with your commitment and making sure that funding and the speaking and everything, even you sitting here, I know you have other sessions to be at. You were supposed to be here for 15 minutes and you made sure that this session is successful. Uh, that doesn't go noticed. And I'm even getting emotional. Thank you.
Can I also thank you, Baratang, sincerely? I think this whole work started really because of you, championing women and girls, raising a wonderful girl, if I may also add. You know, yes, I am supposed to go to another session, and it's very challenging for the Secretariat to be in any of the sessions because of the logistics. But as I said, these sessions are very important to us. They're close to our heart, and we believe that if we have these types of dialogues, which always give birth to good partnerships and cooperation, then we can make a change. It's really coincidental that I'm going, and I want to invite you to that session after this one, to a session which will be focused on women and girls that don't have basic human rights to go to school. There is a session at workshop room 4, starting just now, where we will be hearing from colleagues speaking about the situation in Afghanistan, closing of the schools, where digital is the only window to those girls and women to continue with their education and to an extent, I wouldn't even call it a normal life according to our standards, but at least a way to communicate with others and to continue learning. Perhaps we will not close this session. We can maybe move to workshop room 4 and continue discussing. I think our global voice is really needed for women and girls. In that country, I had a great pleasure to work with them a couple of years back. It's been really a wonderful experience that will always stay with me. And I think now is the time that we respond to them with what we can do within our capacity, the way they were responding to us within their capacity, helping us to build this really strong ecosystem. So thank you so much once again. Thank you very much, Baratang. I know it's been challenging always to be first, but I think you broke the ice and it's been a wonderful dialogue. Thank you.